How's everyone doing? Thanks for joining me on my small engine repair channel. Today's project is this older Toro push mower, and the problem that came in with is a broken pull rope. So let's dive into this and I'll show you how to fix it. Alright guys, so this is a pretty easy job. Any homeowner should be able to do this. First thing we need to do is take off this starter recoil assembly here. So there's a couple, 2 or 3 little 1/4 inch screws in here. I'm going to use an impact. If you don't have an impact, use a socket and a ratchet, or even a wrench would work. A 1/4 inch wrench would work just fine. This one only has 2, and then the whole assembly just comes off in one piece. Okay, so I'm just going to take you over to the bench and show you how to replace the rope on this. Okay, so the first task at hand is to get out the old rope that's left, if there is any, in your starter recoil. So I'm just kind of finding where the rope got broke off, which is right here on mine, and just going to try and fish the end of that rope out so that I can grab it. Okay, and then I'm going to pull it all the way out, and as you can see, I'm holding it as I pull it out to try and keep some of the tension on there. Now, next thing you're going to want to do is, once it's fully out, I can see I'm at the end of the rope here. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is take a small screwdriver and stick it up through the fins all the way, just so that it kind of doesn't allow the tension in the spring to actually recoil. Okay, from here, just grab your rope, and you could probably pull it all the way through if you want. Okay, and then you just put that down for now. Now we need to measure off a new piece of rope. So I just happen to stock rope. This one, I have different sizes for different applications, like trimmers, lawnmowers, snow blowers. Okay, so this one happens to be a number 4 rope. Alright, so all I'm going to do is give myself a feed of about 6-7 feet. Okay, and then we're going to come back and put it on. So if you don't buy the stuff in bulk, guys, you can just go to your local hardware store or local small engine repair shop and get yourself about 8 feet of new cord, and they'll sell you it maybe by the foot or by the whole thing, by the package. So then what you're going to want to do, if yours isn't already, if you had to cut it, I'm going to have to burn the edges here so that the cord doesn't fray. Okay, so this is pretty hot, but I have gloves on and I'm not touching it too badly. So I kind of like to put it into a little bit of a point. It's just easier to kind of feed the rope when I need to. Do the same on the other side. Alright, so now we got our length of rope. What we're going to do next is just feed that rope back through. This could be the trickiest part, because you kind of have to line up the hole here and the line and the hole here. This one just so happens it actually lines up pretty good, so I just feed it right in, tie myself a knot on the end. Try and get it as close to the end as possible. Nice tight knot. Pull that back through. Okay. Now, before I get too far with this, I'm going to need to take the rope out of this one, or for the handle. So these can be tricky. They're all different types, these handles. So you just have to get in there. You're not going to be able to see from the lighting, but you just gotta get in there, try and get the end of this rope out. This particular one would have had like a staple in here, so at one point I would have had to have taken that staple out. That's just kind of added. You don't really need that staple. Sometimes a little set of long nose needle nose pliers actually helps. But this can be tricky as well. You just gotta stay with it. There we go. So I'm just going to stick my new wire, or my new rope through, and again it's going to get to the end, and then you're going to need to make it go 90 degrees somehow. So if you can reach in with your needle nose, great, pull it through. Tie another knot in this end, pull it nice and tight, pull it back through. Okay, and then just give it a nice tug, and now we're ready to let go of the screwdriver. Now before, since I have this already apart, I'm also going to lubricate the pawls. Spray some lubrication in there. Alright, and then I'm also going to lubricate the spring. The spring might be hard to pick up here, but the spring usually comes out on somewhere on this inner part. You can see the edge of the spring right here. There's an opening, so I just stick my lubrication in there, give it a couple squirts. Alright, then I'm going to hold on to the inner portion while I take the screwdriver out, and I'm going to slowly let that feed back in. Okay, now this spring doesn't look like it has enough tension because the tension on the spring is already gone, and look at how much rope I have left. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to put more tension on this now. Alright, to put more tension on this thing, what we need to do is I've pulled the rope all the way back out again. And I'm going to pull the rope through a little bit. And on this particular model, you can see there's very little room between the inner part and the outer shell, or the outer case. Okay, so this is going to allow me to actually put more spring tension on here without modifying this, and I'll talk you through that in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm holding the tension on the spring right now, and I'm going to grab the rope that's closest to the end of the rope. Okay, and then I'm going to actually, holding the outside, I'm going to wind that spring counterclockwise. Okay, and I did it one rotation there. Now this one was needed quite a bit more spring tension applied, so it would retract the rope a substantial different distance. So what I'm going to do is actually put 2 turns of extra tension on that spring, and then pull my rope through, and I'm going to see how far the rope retracts. Okay, so you can see huge difference how much rope I have left, but in this case you know, it's not all the way retracted. So what I'm going to do is put one more loop on of spring tension on there. So I'm going to pull it around one more time and see what we get. Okay, So there you have it. All right, so if for whatever reason your starter recoil doesn't have a small enough space here to actually be able to do what I just did, the other option that you would have to do is you would need to take your some sort of a nail. Okay, I put it in a pair of vice grips to hold it. I would take my torch and I would heat up this nail so it was nice and red and hot. Okay, then what I would do is on the edge of this particular recoil, I would take this and I would melt a U-shaped hole just big enough, okay, to fit the rope, so that the rope would be able to fit in between this inner piece and the outer casing. Okay, and then it would stay in that little slot that you actually bored out while you're turning it around and putting more tension on that spring. Okay, so in my case it just had enough room to be able to put the rope in between these two, but sometimes you might find it might not. So that's how you would solve that problem. Okay, now we're ready to put it back on the machine and give it a test. Alright guys, so where you want the rope to come out is actually pretty important on how you line this thing up. So make sure you line it up properly so the rope comes where you want it to pull out from. Okay, and then you can just find the closest holes that line up. Oh, yeah, that's right. This one only has the 2 holes. So I got one there that lines up and one there. Try and start these by hand. Take those down. Okay, so now she's nice and tight. And we're going to put her down and give her a test drive. Alright guys, so make sure you got a little bit of some oil, you do, some fuel. It's full. And give it some primer shots here. Let's see what we get. Alright, so there you have it guys. That's how you replace a pull rope on one of these Toros. It's a Tecumseh engine, so it would be very similar, if not exactly the same, on your Tecumseh engine. And it would be very similar on something like this that would have a Briggs & Stratton engine. Okay, so they're all very similar guys. So hopefully it was helpful and informative, and if you liked it, please hit the like button down below. And if you're not already a subscriber to my channel and you like small engine repair stuff, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out. And until next time guys, take care.